Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, I made a dude get his nuts waxed on the first date after he lied to me. Inconsiderate roommate wouldn't stop eating my food. Boss forced me to give away my hard-earned money, so I sabotaged her bonus. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I made a dude get his nuts waxed on the first date after he lied to me. When I was in my early 20s and online dating was just starting, I made a profile and said I was just not going to be into two things: smokers and people with kids. Just that. You could be anything else, and if the chemistry is there, we are all good. I meet this guy early in the morning for a breakfast date and we are hitting it off averagely. No sparks, but no red flags. The date goes for 2.5 hours, breakfast taking forever, until we are splitting the bill and he tells me he has a kid. I ask him if he read my profile to know that I was not interested in that, and he says yes, I read that but knew that if you just spent some time with me, you'd see how great I am and how you'd be willing to see past that. I was floored, as now he wasted 3 hours of my life and was okay with being a liar. That was unacceptable to me. I said, well, I don't want this date to end, but I have to go across town to get my Brazilian, where they take all the hair off including the bum hole, done in an hour. Want to come with me and get one too? It's not painful, a total lie, and I think it's attractive on men to be clean there. No pressure, but I'm pretty busy the rest of the week and this is my only free day. He was all about following me anywhere. I told the ladies that this was his first time and that they should take everything including the butt. He held my hand between a curtain and we both got them done at the same time. He screamed a lot but was a champ and went through with it. I made him pay for his own and never called him again. If you are out there, Chris, please don't lie to women on the first date. It's a really bad way to start a relationship. Edit, wow. Well, it seems like most people have had 3 general reactions. 1. This is delightfully petty. 2. You're a horrible person plus other explicatives. And 3. This is fake. Thank you all for the validation that online dating sucks for all genders and you shouldn't go into it with a lie too. Yeah, I am a horrible person. 3. It's not fake, but you can think so if you want. When I was in my early 20s, I did a lot of things I would maybe still do now, and some I wouldn't. And to all of those sending me messages calling me nasty things behind your keyboards, this is petty revenge, so you came here for this shit. You told me it wouldn't hurt. Yes, but I knew that if you just spent some time on it, you'd be able to see past that. I'm baffled that anyone would think tearing pubic hair out by the roots wouldn't hurt. The amount of times a smoker would hit on me online despite having a big no smokers in my profile. Once you learn they smoke, they will hit you with the "but I won't smoke when I am with you." That's not the point. I once made a guy get his nipple pierced on the first date. I once had a first date just after ripping my nipple ring out in a sailing mishap. Bandage was a little awkward. Date went well. I was on a dating site many years ago, and I was quite active in the forums. There was a topic that came up several times, and it was the kids thing. 'Cause when registering you had to fill in a long form, uses to match you with others. One of the things you had to answer was that is it acceptable that the other person had kids? The reason the topic came up is the same thing that happened to OP here. A lot of women said they had filled out the form saying they didn't have kids, because the man had to get to know them to find out if they wanted to continue dating or not. And that shouldn't be based on them having a kid or not. I mean, there is a reason for the question. Inconsiderate roommate wouldn't stop eating my food. I had a roommate years ago that always ate the food I purchased. And sometimes the leftover food I made. He always had an excuse, like he was too tired to go to the store, but he would replace my food tomorrow. He never replaced my food. So I decided to be petty. I had a half gallon of milk that I left outside for about 2 weeks. I let it get nice and spoiled, then put it in the fridge. The morning after, my roommate decided to help himself to a bowl of my cereal, and lost it when he poured chunky milk into the bowl. It smelled awful and had the most disgusting texture to it. The entire kitchen and living room smelled rancid. Of course, I was the one to blame because I kept the milk past the expiration date. This one was my favorite. I simply took non-hard-boiled eggs and put them in a container labeled hard-boiled eggs. I woke up the next morning to him yelling and cussing as he stormed into my room and asked why I did that. I asked why it mattered how I labeled my food. He was sitting in the living room and tried to crack a couple eggs at a time on the coffee table. The raw egg got all over his hands, the table, and on the rug under it. This didn't stop him from taking my food, but it happened less frequently. I spoke with him several times about this, and he agreed he would stop. But he never did. He just told me what I wanted to hear and ignored it after that. Make some cookies with laxatives and label them clearly "do not touch." When he has the shits, you can claim you made them specifically for yourself/someone you know with constipation. Buy a mini fridge, put it in your room, put a nice strong lock on your door, and watch your roommate slowly starve because he's incapable of buying his own groceries like an adult. I had a roommate that ate all my chocolate in the fridge. I told everyone not to touch it. What I didn't tell them was that they were shrooms. He ate like 6 doses in one setting. Back in the 70s, I worked with a guy who would quit smoking every 6 months or so. Actually, he didn't quit smoking, he just quit buying cigarettes. He would bum them off the rest of us until we got sick of it one time. At the time, you could go to the local flea market and buy cigarette loads. These were small pieces of stick doused in something that would explode when lit. So, all of us who smoked got some of them and stuck one in a specific cigarette in our packs. After about the 4th one exploded in his face, he'd start buying again. Boss forced me to give away my hard-earned money, so I sabotaged her bonus. Every year, company I worked for has a huge fundraising campaign. They solicit from all employees to voluntarily contribute towards charities directly from their paycheck, pre-tax. You are encouraged and very heavily pressured to donate to pre-selected charities of their choice in smaller amounts per month for the year or one lump sum. Think lots of email reminders and signage all over company walls. Ploys of having your name entered for prize drawings, didn't matter how much you contribute, although prizes were always won by company executives and leadership. The company had running totals for departments of how many people were contributing. They wanted 100% participation from all departments. It was supposed to be private and anonymous and only show numbers. I quickly learned it wasn't as anonymous or voluntary as advertised. If 1 or 2 people were holding back, they were usually approached by the administrator and pressured to participate. What's really strange is the administrator of my department at the time, who was usually very stoic and stern, became giddy about the charity campaign. It was weird and raised alarms. One year I was struggling hard, so I wasn't going to contribute. I was so broke. But here comes admin lady into the office suite. We are almost to 100% participation, claps, giddy squee. She looks around and starts to question each person. She was eyeballing me the whole time, trying to subtly make her way to me. She gets to my desk. Have you made your contribution yet? Without thinking, should have just told her it was personal. I told her I was still considering which charity. She pulls a chair over to my desk with a sob story from one of the charities and how the money helps those in need. She asked me to pull up the charity website and literally walked me through entering my contribution. So as a good little young, naive worker, I did as I was being basically forced to do and contributed a minimal $24 per year at $2 a month donation on my measly salary. I made our department reach 100% participation. Who cares, right? The next year, I purposely waited until the last second to make my contribution to see if I got the same one-on-one chat with admin lady. Sure enough, here she comes with the same sob story she has memorized and would baby talk me through making my contribution while she watched. I soon became her target to get rid of. She was out for my job, so she separated me from people I got along well with, including my direct boss, and made me report directly to her. I knew I had to get out of there quickly or I'd lose my job. I applied for positions and wound up transferring to another department within a few weeks. It ended up being an amazing move and one of my favorite positions to date. In this new department, they organized and ran multiple company, city, and county-wide events, one of the biggest being the charity campaign for the whole company. I brought up to my new coworkers how incredibly weird my previous admin lady was at that time of year. They said of course she wanted 100% participation. Admins get a bonus when their departments are 100% participation. You can bet your sweet rear ends I started telling everyone in my previous department about that little tidbit. The next year, that department had one of the lowest participation efforts. Being that I was in a better place in life and actually liked my new department and leadership, I began willingly contributing because the new admin would take that bonus and buy everyone lunch or some form of thanks. Give me a substantial pay rise and I may consider a small donation. After the raise, I have given it some consideration and decided there is no reason to involve my employer in my charitable contributions. Not exactly the same, but I can't stand the charity requests at supermarkets and drugstores. If I want to donate to a charity, then I'll donate to them directly. Not through some corporate scheme to lower their own tax liability. You should also be aware that the huge, multinational, and massively profitable corporations, the same ones that are trying to shame you into donating at the till, can keep 90 cents of every dollar you donate. As long as they contribute at least 10% of the money you gave, and which they get a tax deduction for, it's all good. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.